Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that plays into my love of gaming and my interest in it, but also something that is just a really powerful tool and something that is often gone over in the basics of psychology, but also is just really useful if you can use it on yourself. And that thing is conditioning, or otherwise, kind of in gaming, especially referred to as the use of Skinner boxes. Yeah. So a little bit of background first in regards to what I'm talking about. Ultimately, everyone's heard of Pavlov's dog and the various other anecdotes around it. And the Skinner box was one of the means by which you could use. It was a piece of equipment, and it had some stimuli, be it a light or a lever or a sound or whatever on one end that would signal then having a lab rat or another animal or individual then use a different lever, a different mechanism in such a way, and it would either and there was an electrified bottom to the cage, so if they didn't do what they were supposed to do, then they would get hit with a shock. If they did do what they were supposed to do, then a little bit of food would get dropped into into the box with the rat, so that it could effectively be rewarded. And this was used to measure two different kinds of conditioning. It was used to measure both classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning is very much the Pavlov's dog scenario, where there is a stimuli. In the case of Pavlov's dog, I think it was a bell or a whistle or something like that, and it causes a reflexive behaviour. So there's an association that's been developed on a very unconscious level that then allows for that association to be made in a response. So in regards to Pavlov's dog, the bell rings, and the bell's always rings for food, and so even if the dog doesn't get fed, the association is there, and so when the bell rings, its mouth starts it starts to salivate and dribble all over way, as dogs do, and but operant conditioning is where it's a controlled behaviour. For example, a child learning that opening a box will get them a biscuit, or other way around, looking more towards how it works for negatives. A child learns that the controlled action of touching a stove when it's turned on will be painful, and as a result, there's that association there, and they know the cause and effect of it, and it's a controlled action. So how does this apply to gaming? Well, think about all of the number of different games that are around nowadays, all of the Candy Crushes and the various other kind of mobile games with their microtransactions. Yeah? And they're very advanced Skinner boxes, where the Skinner box lever is getting you to spend your money. And so the way that they do this is, it gives you a good feeling every time you pass a level, and so on and so forth. But then there's a level in there that's deliberately there to screw you over, deliberately there to hold you up. And you want that good feeling. You want that dopamine rush. I believe it's dopamine that floods your body when you succeed, when you do something good. That reward hormone, yeah. And so, as a result, to get that, you need extra lives so that you can try the level again, or you need that special item that will allow you to clear an entire line or an entire grid, and all of those things are on sale for what would be negligible prices at a glance, and as a result, it's easy for them to, all of the news stories that come out that go, look at how terrible this is, where this one person spent $50,000 on microtransactions for a mobile phone game. Excuse me. It's like, I can entirely believe that, because all of these games, including MMOs and things like that as well, massively multiplayer online games like World of Warcraft, especially, they condition people to spend money to gain the reward of just enjoying the experience that they have in front of them, or gaining the extras to allow them for greater advancement, to deal with those greater highs that they want to chase, that are completely natural. It's all inside your own head, inside your own body, but they prompt you to do that because it's that that kind of action leads to reward thing. And so, as you can see, this is an incredibly powerful tool. It's one that many games, especially the more lazily designed games that aren't particularly looking out for their player, looking out for their customer, they're looking to just churn money off it through their microtransactions, through the free-to-play model that is becoming more and more prevalent, which is a double-edged sword in and of itself in various ways. But it's like these patterns are specifically there to gain these things from people. And the thing that I want to bring to you guys today is, obviously, if you're going to be taken advantage of by other people, firstly, you need to keep an eye on what potential Skinner boxes you're falling into and how many times you're pushing that lever for them. You need to be aware of your own actions there. But also, think about how powerful this tool is if you use it for yourself. So one of the ways that I use it is I like making lists. For all of my video ideas, for instance, I have a really long list. For all of the things that I need to do in a day, I have a list. I like my lists and my flowcharts and just my kind of patterns, so that I can, and my kind of plans, so I can see where I'm going, what I'm doing, and how I want to do it. So with the Skinner box, though, people who struggle with motivation and sticking to things and stuff like that, this might be one for you, because what you do is you gamify what you're doing. And this is becoming more prevalent. There are apps all over the place that allow you to gamify, like cleaning your house or working out or anything like that, because they give you a little progress bar, they give you your level up screen every time you fill the bar and whatever else. They give you that feedback that allows for that dopamine rush. So how can you do this for yourself? Well, it's pretty simple. Make a list of the things that you need to do, but make it small first, because obviously a long list is going to be daunting. Have a long list somewhere, sure, but have your checklist that you're going to use be like 4 or 5 things to start off with. Beginning of the day, 4 or 5 things. Give yourself a time period in which to do those things. Yeah, so make it realistic. Make sure that you're not going to be spending all day on this tiny list when you've got a much longer one elsewhere. But then go through, do each one of those things on your list. Just tick them off. Yeah, each tick is just, is a good thing. We like ticks, they're good. We're, again, trained and conditioned into associating them as a good thing from early on. I wouldn't cross, because those are usually have more negative connotations. You want to keep it positive in all aspects of what you're doing here. The thing is, then, when you've finished that 4 or 5 point list, take a break. Give yourself like 10 minutes and give yourself a reward, be it a snack. Watch YouTube for a bit, play a game on your phone, a Skinner box within a Skinner box, go for a walk, go and have a cigarette if you're that way inclined, whatever it is that you would be able to do in like the time period that you've given yourself for a break, 10, 20 minutes. Enjoy it, do it, give yourself that reward, and then come back. And now you're going to use the list again, but you're going to give yourself a new list. Yeah, and instead of it having 4 or 5 things on it, it's going to have 10 things on it from your big list. And so but as a result, include the things that you've already done, because that way your progress bar is already 40 to 50% of the way done. Yeah, and you can feel good about that, right? You're halfway there already. On this next list, you can just get on and do it. Or, if you're not feeling it that day, you can look at it and go, well, I've already done this much. It's only as much again to do this next bit, and then I can just move on to maybe the most important things, and I can just get it done. It's a simple, easy way of looking at it and letting yourself continue to work through your list until you're done. Yeah, and by the end of it, you can look back, and after each of those lists that you've made, that you've moved up in increments, yeah. I like the number 5 personally, so I tend to do like 5, then 10, then 15, 20, and I just keep pushing up. And even though I'm pushing up the high end of it, you know, if let's say I've only got 20 things to do that day, then that means that if after I've done my 15 bits of stuff that need doing, then when it gets to that last list with all 20 things on it, I'm already 75% done. I'm winning. I get to feel good about that, and then at the end I get to give myself a bigger reward, you know. And as a result, then what happens the next day? Well, I do exactly the same thing, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and eventually I'm associating getting those things done in that fashion with the rewards that I'm giving myself, whatever they may be, whatever works for you. And so as a result, all those people who are we're coming towards the end of the first month of this year, so many of you have already forgotten New Year's resolutions, things that you wanted to do this year that you were talking about over the New Year and Christmas. You know, all of those things. Don't rely on motivation. I'll do another video on motivation to kick it around later. But with this Skinner box method, you don't need to rely on motivation. You just need to start it and just tick the stuff off as you go. And each time you finished a section, each time you finished a thing, you get a reward. You get to do what you like. You get to give yourself something back for doing a good job. Yeah? The same way that those rats in those Skinner boxes, when all of this started with the development of these things, they were able to avoid electrical shocks and get food instead, just by making sure that they tapped tapped a lever or a button or whatever it was when a sound and a light shone at them. You know, you can do exactly the same thing for yourself. You just need to lay it out properly first. But anyway, that's my suggestion on this. It's a tool that I don't tend to use so much in the games that I write anymore, simply because the games that I write for to run as like tabletop games for people, I tend to like the story element more than some of the grindy kind of dungeon delvey elements of it. And as a result, I don't tend to put in the kind of feedback loops that a Skinner box relies on to work anymore. But there was a time when I did. So there you go. Any of you that are dungeon masters out there, throwing in a Skinner box for your players as a kind of like, when X, if you actively do X, then this will occur. Also lets you flip it around on its head and let you really screw them over at times, and it'll be all their own fault, and you can, you know, conflict. But anyway, extra tip there, why not? But the main point of this is it's a really powerful tool, and you can use it for yourself just to keep yourself going. You don't need that much effort or push to it, just to really get it going, get the ball rolling on it. And then by the time you've had that last reward and you can look back at that full list for your day, you're done. You're happy. You've got all of the things that you gave yourself, and on top of that, everything else that you were kind of just needing to do has got done. You know, there's not really a downside to it as long as you're using it on yourself responsibly. Yeah, trying to as said, trying to throw yourself in on this huge list and trying to use this method to just burn yourself out on things isn't really going to work, because you're just going to burn yourself out and give up anyway. But like, take it in chunks, break it down, always give yourself that little bit more, and then always just make sure that you're rewarding yourself at your intervals. Simple, straightforward, and easy. But yeah, then the last thing to take away is, obviously there are people in marketing, in like app and game design, in all of these things that want your money, who are going to be using these kind of conditioning techniques without you realizing, to kind of get you to pay, get you to throw money at them. So the last thing that I would say is, as much as these are really powerful tools for you to use with yourself, they can be really fun when used properly in certain games as part of these feedback loops for you. But what it comes down to is, there are also going to be people who are going to be using these to screw you over, the same way that potentially those poor rats in those those original Skinner boxes, those original devices, would get shocked a fair amount, you know. And so, yeah, that's all I've got to say on it. Simple 3 points, and I hope you guys find that useful, because I do, you know, and I'm aware of a lot of other people that do as well, especially the people who end up having long lists of things that just stack up, and it becomes really daunting to try and tackle them, like when you've come back to work after holiday or something like that. You know, it can be a really tough thing to get back into. But let me know what you guys think. Have you ever used this kind of method on yourself before to help yourself out get some stuff done? Or have you seen it done in other places? Have you fallen victim to those mobile phone apps that will just like milk you for money with those difficult levels, those difficult things that they've thrown in every now and again, that just to try and make you push that pay button? You know, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you found this at all interesting or useful, please like, share, and subscribe. And otherwise, thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you in the video tomorrow.